81 through the Shenandoah Valley, which you might not know from the song, is mostly in Virginia. Country roads gives people the impression that it's a West Virginia place, but it's mostly in Virginia. I think there's a little snippet of it up in the north. No, as a matter of fact, I'm sure there is, because it goes through Harper's Ferry. And the main thing, as I was going along this road, I started to think, because the people that were driving along with me were being particularly nice, and it's one of those things that made me start thinking about nice driving, because occasionally someone isn't nice and we lump everybody together. But the fact of the matter is that more people on the road will do rational, generous, thoughtful things than won't. And if that was not the case, if that weren't true, we wouldn't be able to survive the experience. And we tend to focus on the negative. I mean, there's actually a psychological phenomenon that's been well researched, that we tend to focus on negative experiences than positive experiences. So when you're on the road, one of the things I found, and I'm saying this, I'll probably jinx myself by saying this, but I have not been behind the wheel in a car accident, and I drive a lot. I don't drive as much as I used to, but I used to drive quite a bit. But I have not been behind the wheel in a car accident for about 25 years. I've been almost in a lot of accidents where someone seemed to be, head over heels determined to create an accident, and I got myself out of it by just avoiding them. But I haven't been in an accident, and that sort of bizarre revelation about myself, once I realized that's kind of strange, because everybody I know keeps getting into accidents, so what are you doing? And it made me think a lot about, what do I do when I'm on the road? Well, part of it is attention and a sort of hypervigilance that I know is just probably temperamental. I'm always watching everything around me, not just on the road, but just walking down the street. But beyond that, there's just an attitude of being attentive and paying attention to the fact that other people have other intentions. And this goes beyond, just driving. It's just part of life, is just constantly paying attention to what other people might want that you might not want, and anticipating that, and you don't want them to get in your way, so don't get in their way. And a lot of when you're driving, that's basically all you're doing, is you're trying to get to where you're going without getting in the way of where other people are going. So right now, I'm in the passing lane. There's a guy behind me who clearly wants to go faster. So I'm going to signal him, get the heck out of his way, and let him go. And he's passing me rather quickly. He's probably going about 10 miles an hour faster than me. And I'm going to let him get ahead, and there's a little space, so I'm getting right back into the passing lane, because there are some people in front of me, and there is a cement truck trying to merge. I don't want to be in his way. Now, that sounds like a lot of complicated processing, but really it's not. So here's a guy trying to get out of the cement truck's way, so I back off a little bit, make sure that I'm not backing too much into the guy behind me. It's simple. I mean, if you can walk down the street without running into people, which I know some people can't, but you should be able to do this. And if everybody did this, driving would be a dream. But you always end up with that one person who, sits in the passing lane with tons of cars tailgating them, and won't get into gaps in the regular lane, or just people who want to cut in front of other people, who pay no attention to the fact that someone's merging. I don't know whether that's temperamental or those people are just jerks, but most people don't do that. And like I said, if it weren't true that most people didn't do that, the highways would be a huge, just a mess, more than they already are. Now, I say this while I'm having a conversation, and a lot of people are going, well, you're videotaping yourself. Aren't you distracting yourself while driving? And here's the thing. I set the camera up before I started driving, so I wasn't doing some complicated thing. And, I thought about it, and I thought, well, turning that camera on is not going to take, it's basically like adjusting the climate control or turning the radio station. So if it had been some complicated process that would have distracted me, I would have done it. I just leaned over and pushed a button, and now I'm talking and having a conversation. Now, I will say this. I do know people, and I've been in the car with people who cannot drive and have a conversation at the same time. And luckily for me, most of the people know that, and they'll tell you, yep, I got to pay attention to the road, so please don't talk to me. And I completely respect that, because it's not morally wrong to have that limitation, to know for a fact that you cannot talk and pay attention to the road at the same time. It's just everybody has something that they can't do. It is morally wrong, however, to not admit that. And I've also been in the car with people who cannot really have a conversation and pay attention. They get distracted just from talking to you. They get distracted just from listening to the radio. And more importantly, though, they don't admit that to themselves. And so that is what causes the problem, is when they have some limitation, which we all do in different realms, and they don't admit it, and that limitation takes over them. It possesses them. So if you are somebody who could not have a conversation, or couldn't, maintain some some analytical thought process, like what I'm trying to do right now, I'm not getting any examples from the drivers around me. Everyone's just being kind of cool. I think we're between exits, so nobody's trying to go anywhere. But if you can't do that, just admit it. And that's just in general in all of life. Just if everyone has limitations. You shouldn't be ashamed of the limitations themselves. But if you have limitations and you just refuse to admit them and don't mitigate against them, then there is something wrong with that, and that's bad. Don't do that. You should be ashamed of that. But I have to admit too, I'm driving in the middle of the day on a Thursday, so it's not like I'm in bumper to bumper traffic. I may have a very different attitude if I were in a traffic jam. I was in one on the other day when I was coming out. This is a return trip, and they had slowed traffic down for what they said was a traffic emergency. And I could see where the end of the traffic was, and I could see that there was nothing there. And that kind of peeved me a little bit, because I was like, what is actually happening? There is nothing going on there. They just have cars stopped. And for a moment I was like, is this a roadblock? Are they trying to catch somebody? I never did find out what it was. It was just like after about 3 or 4 minutes of sitting in almost dead stop traffic, no ambulances, a couple of police cars, but no ambulances, no fire trucks. No tow trucks. And yeah, this guy he's waiting. He's being nice. He wants to go faster, and he's keeping a polite distance. Now watch. I'll pull over here and he'll speed up. Yep, he did. See, that's it. That's all you got to do. Don't tailgate people. Don't block people if you're in the passing lane and someone's behind you and they want to go past. Just get the hell out. That guy right there behind me, he was a good, he must have been 50 meters behind me, but he had pulled up to that distance and then stopped, and I'm thinking, he probably wants to go faster, and he just was waiting for me to get out of the way. The moment I pulled out of the passing lane, zoom, there he went. That's it. It's really simple. And you should do that in all parts of your life, not just, also in moving around. Like if you're a pedestrian on a sidewalk and you're coming up to a crosswalk, and it's one where cars can turn, and everybody's trying to figure out what everyone else is doing, and you decide you're not going to cross until all the cars are going, stop well before the crosswalk. These people that step off the curb and stand in the street, waiting to cross the crosswalk. And that just, you're complicating everybody's decision process. Now all the cars coming through have to wonder whether you're going to jump out in front of them. Stay on the pavement. You're gaining what for yourself? Like a second? You're going to get to where you're going a second and a half earlier? That's not worth. It would be different if that second was going to mean the difference between you being a millionaire and ending up on the street, but it's not. So why are you being a jerk to people? And that is really the most basic level of morality. Is not, obviously things like don't kill people and things like that are, when you're well beyond the threshold. But the most basic form of morality is don't complicate other people's life decisions, even if it's something as simple as whether they're going to turn or wait for you to cross at a crosswalk. Just stay well out. Make it clear to them what you're doing, so then they can just go about their day, rather than trying to figure out what's going on in your head. Make clear what's going on in your head. It's really the most basic form of honesty. Is just if you're not going to cross, stop well before the crosswalk. Even give the guy a look like, yep, I'm not going, you go ahead. Just simple. Just be an honest person, and everything goes more smoothly. You want other people to do that, right? You kind of want. How often have you come up to a crosswalk and you're looking to see if somebody's going to turn into that road, and you're like, can you put your blinker on? Right? They should put their blinker on. Always use your blinker. Why? Because you just let people know. Number one, it means that you're not. They'll stay out of your way. It helps everybody stay out of everybody's way. I know that sounds kind of libertarian, and I'm not a libertarian, but that is one libertarian principle that I definitely agree with, is in the most basic form. Let everybody know what your intentions are, so that you can stay out of their way and they can stay out of your way. And not just when you're driving or walking, just in life. Tell people, see, this is it. This is as simple as this. There was a gap. I saw these guys wanted to go faster than I am. I'm going a little bit faster than the speed limit. I'm not going to say how much. But now they're gone. There's a hole. Just move into it. Move from one lane to the other. Don't swerve, but get the hell out. Something that just absolutely I can't stand is people who linger on that line, like they really love straddling that middle line. I don't want to go to the other lane. That dude over there was living the life, man. When someone's got their window down, their arm out, they're like really enjoying that drive. That's something else that I like about this, is it's one way that you can actually people watch without the fear of having them start up a conversation that you don't want to be in. A little introvert wisdom. Anyway, I think that's about all I have to say about it. I just happened to start thinking about it, and this is something I think about all the time, is how, not only how just basically easy it is to not make driving an absolute misery for other people, and it doesn't really cost you anything. If I have to slow down 10 miles an hour for a couple of seconds to let someone by, well, you know what? I'm going to get home a few 30 seconds later. Who cares? If that kind of loss is really something that is a hit to your ego, or that guy's going faster than me, he's winning, that you've got bigger problems than getting home a few minutes earlier. Now, see, I've got to slow down. I've got a truck in front of me, and it's making me slow way down. But there's also a guy in the turning lane I don't want to whip in front of, because he is wanting to go way faster than I am. Or maybe not. I might actually be able to. Yeah, no, he's going about the same speed I want to go. That's fine. And that's the thing, is like, I used to do this thing when I was younger and more full of beans. I guess beans is a way of saying more full of testosterone. I don't know. I've probably got a lot. I still got a lot of testosterone. But I used to get in this thing where when I was traveling, that I always wanted to be the second fastest car. I never wanted to be within my sight, in my rear view and in front. I never wanted to be the fastest car. I wanted to be the second fastest car, because if you're the fastest car, you're the guy that the cops are going to pull over. So to me, that was my way of maximizing my speed and my safety at the same time. I was trying to game the system. It doesn't always work, because as I learned one day doing this, it worked for a long time, for years, and then one time I realized that sometimes there are two cops, and me and the guy that I was using as my cop bait, letting him go just slightly faster than me, we both got pulled over. So I think that might have been my last speeding. No, I got a speeding ticket one time on Eastern Shore, Maryland, when I didn't pay attention to the road signs, and I could not believe that the speed limit was as slow as it was. I just wasn't paying attention. But I don't get a lot of speeding tickets anymore, because it's just, I'm sitting there, I could technically right now, but I'm not going so fast that I think they would ping me. There's this sort of I don't know whether it's an urban legend, but they always say that they don't pull cars over that are going. If you're going 10 miles over the speed limit or more, that's when they start pulling you over. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I have, since I've been staying within that limit, I have not been pulled over. So it's worked out pretty well for me so far. I guess that is all I have to say. The road is really cleared up, and everybody's being cool. So I guess I'm going to sign off now. If this ever gets on the television, that's how old I am. If this ever gets on the internet, then thanks for watching, I guess.